This is the book of the words of righteousness, and of the reproof of the watchers, who belong to the world, according to that which he, who is holy and great, commanded in the vision. I perceived in my dream, that I was now speaking with a tongue of flesh, and with my breath, which the Mighty One has put into the mouth of men, that they might converse with it, and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to men, the power of, comprehending the word of understanding, so has he created and given to me, the power of, reproving the watchers, the offspring of heaven. I have written your petition, and in my vision it has been shown me, that what you request will not be granted you as long as the world endures. Judgment has been passed upon you, your request will not be granted you. From this time forward, never shall you ascend into heaven, he has said, that on the earth he will bind you, as long as the world endures. But before these things you shall behold the destruction of your beloved sons, you shall not possess them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Neither shall you entreat for them, not for yourselves, but you shall weep and supplicate in silence. The words of the book which I wrote. A vision thus appeared to me. Behold, in that vision clouds and a mist invited me, agitated stars and flashes of lightning impelled and pressed me forwards, while winds in the vision assisted my flight, accelerating my progress. They elevated me aloft to heaven. I proceeded, until I arrived at a wall built with stones of crystal. A vibrating flame surrounded it, which began to strike me with terror. Into this vibrating flame I entered, and drew nigh to a spacious habitation built also with stones of crystal. Its walls too, as well as pavement, were formed with stones of crystal, and crystal likewise was the ground. Its roof had the appearance of agitated stars and flashes of lightning, and among them were cherubim of fire in a stormy sky. A flame burned around its walls, and its portal blazed with fire. When I entered into this dwelling, it was hot as fire and cold as ice. No trace of delight or of life was there. Terror overwhelmed me, and a fearful shaking seized me. Violently agitated and trembling, I fell upon my face. In the vision I looked. And behold, there was another habitation more spacious than the former, every entrance to which was open before me, erected in the midst of a vibrating flame. So greatly did it excel in all points, in glory, in magnificence, and in magnitude, that it is impossible to describe to you either the splendor or the extent of it. Its floor was on fire, above were lightnings and agitated stars, while its roof exhibited a blazing fire. Attentively I surveyed it, and saw that it contained an exalted throne, the appearance of which was like that of frost, while its circumference resembled the orb of the brilliant sun, and there was the voice of the cherubim. From underneath this mighty throne rivers of flaming fire issued. To look upon it was impossible. One great in glory sat upon it, whose robe was brighter than the sun, and whiter than snow. No angel was capable of penetrating to view the face of him, the glorious and the effulgent, nor could any mortal behold him. A fire was flaming around him. A fire also of great extent continued to rise up before him, so that not one of those who surrounded him was capable of approaching him, among the myriads of myriads who were before him. To him holy consultation was needless. Yet did not the sanctified, who were near him, depart far from him either by night or by day, nor were they removed from him. I also was so far advanced, with a veil on my face, and trembling. Then the Lord with his own mouth called me, saying, Approach hither, Enoch, at my holy word. And he raised me up, making me draw near even to the entrance. My eye was directed to the ground.
In the enigmatic words of the Book of Enoch, chapter 14, we find a glimpse into the profound mysteries of the divine realm. These verses paint a vivid picture of celestial beings, awe-inspiring visions, and encounters with the Almighty Himself. Let's unravel the profound biblical teachings hidden within this passage. Enoch's experience begins with his role as a messenger of righteousness and reproof. Just as Enoch is called to reprove the watchers, we too are called to uphold righteousness and address wrongdoing in our lives and society. God grants humanity the ability to communicate and understand His Word. This mirrors the significance of using our words to build up, encourage, and hold others accountable, just as Enoch reproved the watchers. Enoch's dreamlike state represents his connection to the spiritual realm. It reminds us that God can reveal His plan through visions and dreams, guiding us toward His purposes. Verses 2-3. The imagery of clouds, mist, stars, lightning, and winds portrays God's guidance in our lives. These elements signify divine assistance, accelerating our spiritual journey. Verses 4-5. Enoch's encounter with the crystal walls and heavenly habitation offers a preview of the glory and magnificence of heaven. This serves as a reminder that our earthly experiences are fleeting compared to the eternal glory that awaits us. Verses 6-7. The description of the vibrating flame and cherubim emphasizes the awe and reverence due to God's presence. Just as Enoch was humbled and shaken, we are called to approach God with reverence and humility. Verses 7-8. The vivid imagery of the exalted throne, radiant robe, and blazing fire portrays God's majesty beyond human comprehension. It reflects Isaiah chapter 6 verses 1-5 and Ezekiel chapter 1 verses 26-28, underscoring that God's glory is unparalleled. Verses 9-11. Enoch's inability to see God's face underscores the divine mystery surrounding the fullness of God's presence. This aligns with Exodus chapter 33 verse 20 and highlights our limited understanding of the Almighty. Verses 11-12. The rivers of flaming fire symbolize God's judgment and purifying power. Just as rivers of living water flow from Christ, John chapter 7 verse 38, these rivers depict God's holiness and righteousness. Verse 12. Enoch's reaction of falling upon his face reflects the common response to encountering God's glory. Similarly, throughout the Bible, individuals are humbled in the presence of the Almighty. Verses 12-13. God's personal call to Enoch showcases His initiative to draw near to us. In our lives, God beckons us to approach Him with open hearts, just as He invited Enoch to draw near. Verses 13-14. God's direction leads Enoch to approach Him step by step, unveiling the concept of divine guidance in our own spiritual journey. It parallels the importance of heeding God's call and direction in our lives. Verses 14-15. In this mystical passage, we glimpse the awe-inspiring beauty, power, and holiness of God. We're reminded of the importance of righteousness, reverence, and obedience. Just as Enoch was chosen to communicate God's reproof, we too are entrusted with the responsibility of upholding divine truth, seeking God's guidance, and embracing His presence with humility and awe. As we conclude this journey through the profound teachings of the Book of Enoch, chapter 14, we find ourselves immersed in the depths of divine mysteries. These ancient words reveal the intricate tapestry of God's plan, His presence, and the call to righteousness. May this exploration ignite a hunger for a deeper understanding of God's majesty, His guidance in our lives, and the awe-inspiring nature of His presence. Just as Enoch's encounter left him trembling and humbled, may we too approach our Creator with reverence, humility, and an unwavering desire to draw closer to Him. Stay tuned for more insightful content that nurtures your spiritual growth and deepens your understanding of the mysteries of faith. Until next time, may your journey be guided by the light of God's truth and the warmth of His love.